In this video, I'm going to show the various possibilities Excel offers you to adjust the layout and print setup option. In part A, I will mention a couple of options available to prepare the data to printing. In part B, I will go through the page setup options, including headers, footers, margin scaling, and so on. In part C, I will show you how to use page breaks and page break view to get full control over your document. Part D, how to final check and adjust the last settings before printing. Let's begin. In Excel, you can change how you view your sheet. You can find the options by clicking on the View tab in the ribbon and selecting the one you want. You can also switch views by clicking on the buttons at the bottom of the screen. By default, the normal view is chosen. The other options are Page Break Preview and Page Layout View. Page Break View is where you set the limiting borders of your pages on the sheet. Page Layout View shows you the page layout and its characteristics like margins, headers, footers, as well as how your content fits in the overall layout. You can also access the page layout view in the Backstage Print preview. Go to File, Print, and there you have it. Press on the arrow at the top left to go back to the worksheet. For quick access, press Ctrl+P to see the print preview and then Escape to go back to the worksheet. I recommend starting with the page layout view. Work your way to the page break view, and after the final check before printing, use the Backstage Print preview. If the data you have fits on the sheet and suits your expectations, then you don't have to change anything in the format. If not, then the first step would be to prepare your data to fit according to your wishes. Choose the wrap options on the Home tab to adjust the length of text in a cell. Select the column you want, double-click on one of their borders to auto-fit column widths, changing the font size and so on until your document is compact and fits into the page format you chose. If your report is too big to fit on one page, consider deleting or resizing unwanted rows and columns. The page layout and page setup options can be accessed in the page layout tab on the ribbon, or the Backstage preview when you click Ctrl+P. I recommend working from the page layout tab because it gives a better overview and more options. Always start with the page print size. Click on this button. By default, the A4 size is chosen. Other common sizes are listed. Select the size you want to print. Here you can choose the orientation of your page. By default, your table orientation would be Portrait, which is vertical orientation, unless you are working in a template with other settings saved. For this case, I will change the orientation to Landscape format. Click on the upper or lower margin of your document. The Header and Footer tab will be displayed on the ribbon. Here you can insert your logo, name of the document, chapter number, description, file paths, page numbers, etc. etc. Adjustment made here will be by default applied to every page you print. On the top left of the ribbon, Excel shows a couple of recommendations you can use. Here you can enter different elements like page numbers, current date and time, sheet name, etc. etc. In the top right header, I will enter the page number element, type in off next to it, and choose the number of pages element. In the left header, I will type in SWOT tutorials, change the font size and color. In the footer, I will insert a picture. In this section, there are additional options to choose from. For example, the option to apply the same header and footer on every page or different ones. Margins are the distance between your data and the borders of the page, so it is like a frame around your data. The upper and lower margins usually contains headers and footers data, like a logo, number of pages, etc. etc. The side margins are kept white and neutral. Click on the Margins button. Excel shows 3 presets to choose from. You can click on Custom Margins to set your own. For this example, I will use the narrow margin. By default, the content will be positioned on the top left of the page. To change that, go to Margins, Custom Margins, the Margins tab. Here you can center your data on the page horizontally and/or vertically. A preview of the positioning is shown here. The guidelines in Excel will not be printed unless the print option is selected. Check here to view and print them. If I uncheck this view but keep the print options checked, then switch to the Backstage view, you will see that the lines will be printed with the document. You can scale your data within the printing page. This can be done in this section by adjusting the width and height scale. By default, the automatic scale is 100%. If I choose to scale the width to one page, meaning that all columns will fit on one page, Excel will shrink the data and adjust the scale percentage automatically. Set the width and height scale to automatic and enter the percentage you want. Excel will stretch or shrink your printout data accordingly. You can set headings in Excel that will be repeated on every printed page. This is useful especially if you have a long list of data that goes over multiple pages. To do that, go to the Page Setup section and choose Print Titles. Here you have various options. For this example, I will focus on these two, rows to repeat at top and column to repeat at left. You can enter or select the range containing the rows. Now if I switch back to the Backstage view, the rows I chose will be repeated in each page printed. The same applies to columns. A printing area is the area of the document that will be printed. By default, Excel will print all entries in a sheet. To set a printing area, select the section you want to print. Go to the Print Area button and set the print area. Now if I switch to the Backstage view, you will see that only the first table will be printed. You can remove the print area by going to the button and selecting Remove Print Area. As an alternative, if you are in a hurry, select the range you want to print, go to the Backstage view and choose Print Selection. Only the selected part will be printed. Page breaks are like a border where one page ends and the next begins. For a better control of the print area, I recommend using the page break view. When you activate this view, Excel will automatically mark how the sheet will be divided into the printed pages. All setup done in previous steps can also be seen here. If I choose, for example, this original sheet, Excel will divide the sheet based on the default values and settings. The dark blue line or rectangle represents the maximum limit of the print area. You can move it to exclude or include data in the printing area. For example, if I move it to the left, the small table on the right will be excluded from the printing area. You can add data to the print area by selecting it, right-clicking and choosing Add to Print Area. The dashed line in Excel refers to a page break. As long as the line is dashed, you still have a bit of space on your page. You can move the line and include further data to be printed on the page. Once the line turns to a thick continuous line, you have reached the limit of the page. The thick line shows the maximum limit of data that can fit in a page setup you chose before. If you move it further and above the normal limit, Excel will scale your data to fit within the breaks. Before printing, it is always smart to do a final check of the print preview. Here in this Backstage window, you have access to most commands we used before. You can adjust the print preview, zoom in and out, show or hide the margins. You can set the number of copies to be printed. You can choose your printer and adjust its properties. You can print the active sheet. This means the sheet that you are currently on. You can also print the whole workbook, including all the sheets it contains. You can print one-sided or double-sided. The collated printing options means print the first set with all its pages, then print the second copy and then the third. The uncollated option means that if you set the number of copies to 3 and you have a document with 3 pages to print, Excel will print the first page 3 times, then the second one 3 times, then the third page 3 times. And the options below are the same we dealt with in the Page Layout tab. That's it for this video. I hope you learned something new and found what you were looking for. Thanks for watching.